Have you seen the new scans of the Nazca lines where they've found new petroglyphs?
Yeah. The man, there's gonna be so much like that that's gonna be found. People are gonna be able
what
to
is all that stuff?
fly these. Well, it's amazing. Like how exactly. One, what's the inspiration for making these giant? The sophistication is in the planning and the math behind how exactly you make these. How exactly you make these images in the ground that are miles wide and very intricate. Like if you look at the spider, there's a spider there that's anatomically correct for a local spider that's there. And there's some aspect about the spider and a detail that they incorporate that you would only know if you were like really studying these little creatures and wanted to recreate it on a massive scale. But the legs, man, they're mapping. I mean, look at this is an enormous thing in the ground that if you don't have flight, you're never going to be able to know that you did it. That you did it precisely, right? Or unless you had very meticulous planning and everything.
But again, what's the inspiration for this?
What's the inspiration? Why would you be doing this? What is this for?
Why does it have that one leg that hooks off to the left?
I don't know.
See that? That one lengthened piece? Very strange.
Well, the Nazca, they the exact timeline of their civilization is a little bit blurry, but I mean they had disappeared more than 1,000 years before the Spanish arrived.
Jamie, can I ask you what is that all about? Why does it have all those additional lines?
I don't. Someone's doing different. I don't know.
Is that just art?
Yeah, I think they're making it on maybe one of those sand tables or something like that.
That'd be a cool T-shirt. There's other weird ones, like the one that looks like an astronaut.
Yeah, he does. I actually think that's a pulpa line, which is it's a different culture that does the same thing. If you look up pulpa lines, you may be able to
so
find
there's
it.
quite a few of them. Look at that one, the jester one, the one with the antenna at the upper left. Like,
Yeah, look at him.
No. There it is. Like that one.
Where does
I
that
guess
come
you just
from?
can't make it that big. Make it a little smaller. There you go. What is that?
AI
And why
on
does it-
covers.
What's that?
It says AI on covers.
Oh, are they AI?
Yes, but this is
Oh,
AI.
okay, I'm sorry.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
AI.
Oh, hey,
These
look
are
at
the
the
newest,
shark. Look at the
pictures.
shark on there. Isn't that cool? So you have seafaring, dude. Okay, do you know of Vanapu in Easter Island? I think it's called Vanapu. It's this platform building that on Easter Island with all the big heads that is the exact same architecture as what we're seeing in Peru. These people are traveling out into the Pacific Ocean and back. It's fascinating, man. Thor Heyerdahl with Kon-Tiki, he proved it. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so it's fallen apart. It's not the same stone. It's a local volcanic sandstone, I think. I don't think that this is basalt. Well, it might be basalt. But it's a volcanic stone. I'm actually pretty sure it's basalt. It's made out of the same thing of the Easter Island heads. So you have this Vanapu, but another project that Maya Exploration Center is working on later this year is we're going down to make a new updated archaeological map of Easter Island, Rapa Nui. And I'm not going, but this is Dr. Barnhart doing it. And there's another site down on the remote end of the island where there's another structure like this that you never see mentioned. And so that we're going to document that and put that out. So there's no doubt that, these people are incredibly advanced, incredibly connected, incredibly intelligent, and it's just so mysterious. Okay, do you know of the Blythe lines? Have you heard of this?
No.
Blythe, California. There are Nazca lines up there.
Really?
Yeah. We should look this up. So
Where's Blythe?
I think it's right before you get to Nevada. You're like driving. So if you you'll pass right by it if you're driving from Las Vegas into California, I think. So Blythe lines. Yeah. We should zoom in from Google Earth. This would be cool.
Where is it, Jamie?
It's on the 10. It's on the 10. It's like right where my cursor is. So.
Oh, so that's Blythe, California. You might be able to look up Blythe lines.
No, I did, but I was trying.
Okay,
you said where
I'm
it
sorry.
was, so I was trying to show you where it was.
Oh, I see.
Right.
So these are the lines. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, they're huge.
Whoa.
So, dude, this is not.
What the fuck is that?
This is. To me, it's pretty obvious that there are people who are, and they think that this is younger than the Nazca lines. But even if it is, it's pretty obvious to me that you have traders and you have people who are very capable of traveling all up and down the Americas. It's all interconnected. And
How many of these lines exist?
It's not really majorly studied, but I think that there's a few of these images that are out there, and more that are further off into the desert that some people have.
One of them was a monkey.
Yeah.
How do they even know what monkeys are?
Well, I'm trying to figure out when.
Well,
they're made.
okay. That's a great question. There,
Were there monkeys in California?
no, I doubt it, but there. An idea of how this could happen is, so at Teotihuacan, like I was talking to you, this is an hour north of Mexico City. There were monkeys that we have found that were in zoos in Teotihuacan, like dead monkeys that are buried. And this species of monkey is only found in the southern Amazon. So it's all the way up in northern Mexico. So all of these things are connected. And the Americas are very mysterious. It's very comparable to Egypt, with just the amount of questions that haven't been answered is insane. And the Olmec world is fascinating. And so, there's Graham in Fingerprints of the Gods, he talks about how the Olmecs, he thought that they may have like African features, and of course that was 1995, and so I don't know, 2015 you guys are talking, and he's like, well, I published that then, but DNA research has come out that says that these people don't have African DNA in them, and that maybe this is Polynesian, maybe this is Australasian people intermixing, and that's why they have this unique look, whatever. But in the Olmec world, there's this monument that is actually called El Negro. And you look at it, and it's not an Olmec. It is an African man. And so I post about this on my X account, and I just kind of like list everything I've seen in the Olmec world. And I'm like, this is really fascinating. Maybe this is evidence of Africans who were in the Olmec world. And I hadn't seen this monument before I saw it in person, because you go in the Olmec the Olmec realm or the region in Mexico, and you go to these museums and you look at the log or the ledger that people have been on, and nobody has visited this museum in the last 4 months, and before that it was 6 months before that, and these monuments just kind of sit underneath these metal roofs, to protect them from the rain, and it's like this completely lost civilization.
Is there an image of this that's available online?
Yeah. There we go. So if you pull up an Olmec head, you'll see that these guys are very different looking, and especially if you can get there we go. Look at okay, so that's so that's a regular Olmec head. So you can see that these are two different races of people. The Olmecs have very soft features, round faces, big eyes, big lips, kind of big noses. They have very soft features. And this El Negro monument has these high cheekbones, this defined jawline, intense.
But isn't there
kind
a lot of variety just in, like, let's just say Italians? There's a lot of variety.
Absolutely.
So couldn't this just be someone who's on a spectrum of features? I don't think it's that much different than
you don't
the
think
Olmecs.
So? Well,
no. When I'm looking at it, I could imagine, like, there's, like I said, just my nationality, Italian. So there's Italians with very thin faces, and there's these big thick ones, and people vary quite a bit. There's enough similarities that I could say, those could be the same people.
Well, the only counter I give to that is when you visit the Olmec realm, you see a lot more than just the heads. You see a lot of Olmec faces, dozens and dozens and dozens of them, maybe well over 100. And when you've seen them all, and you kind of get a gist of like the way they generally look, this guy will really stand out. Like I took a group of students there, and we all, as soon as we all came in and saw it, based on everything we'd been seeing for the past week, it immediately stood out to us.
Well, certainly the thick brow is unique.
Well,
all the other Olmec are wearing helmets.
And that hair as well. It's kind of that curly hair, and or at least it looks like it to me. And so anyways, he could be Olmec. I don't, my identity is not tied up in what I think this is or is
also,
not.
Olmec could be African, like very, very clearly. Like that one on the left easily could be an African man.
Which one? This guy right here?
This one, the one next to the white one, to the left of that. Right there. It easily could be an African man.
It certainly does look that way. But I was on a plane to Mexico a couple months ago, and I was going into the Olmec realm, and I was like, I wanted to take a picture of this guy. I'm looking to the left of me, and he was an Olmec man sitting next to me, and he didn't look like any Mexican I've ever seen. There's something there with the DNA of the Olmec people that is definitely connected with something else that you don't see if you go to the Maya realm, that you don't see if you go to like Mexico City. They have something in their DNA. They have this very specific look about them, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm like looking and I'm like, this Olmec guy next to me.
So fascinating, because it clearly could have been African explorers that made it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Could we look up look up the Traveler Olmec Monument, if you would, please, Jamie. It's the Traveler. I want to call him, I think he's Monument 13. There's another one called Monument 19 that we should look at. But he's this man that's very clearly not, there we go, top left, the one that's on Reddit. In fact, this might be my post on Reddit. Yes, yes, sir. So this guy right here, all right. So this is really, really fascinating. So let's diagnose this. All right, so flags. Flags are invented, this is very unknown fact. Flags are invented, or the first place that we have evidence for it is along the Nile Valley, on these pre-dynastic pots, which they're not the stone vases, but just like clay pottery. They would make little paintings on them, and people had these river boats that had these flags on them, and the flags would say what city you had come from or what village you had come from. And so flags are an old world thing. We don't have any evidence of flags in the New World. All right, he's also wearing a turban. He's got this big turban that's draping off the back of his head, and he very clearly has this distinct beard that's popping out. Now, Native Americans, sometimes they can, they're Asiatic. They have Asian DNA, and Asians don't really grow typically. Sometimes they'll grow the little stash and a little bit of a beard here, but they don't have that big thick beard that you would see, like in Europe or along the Mediterranean in the Middle East. And so this guy has this big thick beard, and then he's got boots on his feet as well. And we think that these are these glyphs that you see to his left and right. These are really, really early Olmec glyphs, and they interpret that foot to the left as saying that he came from somewhere. He was a traveler. And so the thought here is, so this is around 900 BC, give or take a little bit. They really have no idea when these are made. Like, you go to all the monuments and it says made somewhere between 1500 BC and 400 BC. And they'll say 1500 BC and 400 BC. And so they really are uncertain about how old a lot of these monuments are.
Make it big again, Jamie, please.
But if we shoot for dead center 900 BC, the Phoenicians out of the Mediterranean are launching these sailing expeditions around the coast of Africa. These are the ancient world's greatest sailors that we know of, and so there were like experimental archaeological or scientific, expeditions done that show if you would send one of these early Iron Age boats, or if you send any ship out of the gates of Hercules or the Strait of Gibraltar, and you send it out into the Atlantic, and it drifts just a little bit too far without turning south along the African coast, it will be carried by a current across the Atlantic Ocean down into the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and straight into the Gulf of Mexico. And if that had happened, if people who had looked like they're in the old world, like this guy, if that had happened, somebody from the old world, the largest civilization at the time, the empire in this area, would have been the Olmecs. And the reason I feel so strongly about that is because we do not have flags, turbans, or boots in the ancient Americas. This guy looks nothing like a Native American, and the flag, turban, and boots are all old world features.
You know what's fascinating to me, too? The image on the lower right of the bird's head looks very similar to the carvings on Göbekli Tepe.
Doesn't it?
Yes,
Doesn't it?
Very. The curve of the beak, that's not how birds' beaks look. Like, that's a very distinct style of artwork.
Well, and it's
See if you can find the images of the birds from Göbekli Tepe.
It's this raised relief art style. So people talk about it a lot with Göbekli Tepe. I mean, think about this. This is 11,600 years ago, and you have artisans and stonemasons who have been practicing for so long that now they're able to take a blank piece of stone and carve the face off to reveal the artwork from underneath it. Not carve the artwork into the stone, but carve the stone away and reveal this sculpture from underneath. How similar does that look? It's bizarre, right?
Real similar.
And so it's the exact same kind of art style that you see in the Olmec realm.
Exactly, the 3D stone carvings. Instead of carving it directly into the stone, carve the stone around it. They're both doing the same thing. It takes a lot of time.
I mean, how
A lot more
could
effort.
you imagine?
Weird stuff. It's also like the idea that this is documenting time. That the handbags or whatever those things are, what it actually is the sun going over the earth.
You know, I'm writing a paper about this, but this might be a good place to talk about it. So you know, the handbag mystery is very fascinating. We have them in Assyria. We have them Mesopotamia. As far as I know, I don't think one's been found in Egypt. You can see them on the top of those T-pillars in Göbekli Tepe, and there's one in the Olmec realm. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Monument 19, if we could look that up. I think it's the coolest handbag. And when I saw it in person, I like jumped. I had been
That's
waiting
crazy.
years to
It's
see
the
it.
same thing?
Olmec Monument 19. So this guy, he's wrapped in. He's sitting in Quetzal.
Whoa.
He's sitting in Quetzalcoatl. Could you do the one at the top left where we get the full picture? There we go. So this stone is probably about this big. It's probably about this big, and it sits on a table like this. So he's sitting inside the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting inside the feathered serpent, and he's holding this handbag. And I'm not sure. So he has this, and if you see, he has a feathered serpent mask around his head as well. I'm not sure what exactly is above him. They're actually two. It's really hard to make it out, but what's above him, that little box-looking thing, is some kind of box that's being held up by two birds on each end. But the important thing here is the fact that this is the first depiction of the feathered serpent in all of Mesoamerica that we know of, and it might be the oldest handbag known as far as like what we have official dates for. And so the idea here is that he's some kind of sacred shaman, bringer of enlightenment, bringer of knowledge, something like that. And so I had been on the hunt for another handbag. Everywhere I go, I'm always looking for a handbag. I was in Cambodia a couple weeks ago. I'm going around the temples of Angkor Wat, and there's hieroglyphs and carvings all over the walls. I'm looking for a handbag. I can't find one. But when I was in central Mexico, I was at a site called Cacaxtla, and I found another handbag person. I've never officially published it. It's on my X if you'd want to look it up.
What is the timeline for that one?
They don't really know. When you look at the monument, it says anywhere from 1400 BC to 400 BC. That's just what they think. I mean, the Olmec realm is so uncertain, and we don't have hard dates for almost anything. They appear on this historical timeline as a fully fledged civilization capable of creating what you're seeing from the very beginning. Just like so many civilizations, it's like as soon as they arrive as soon as they arrive in the world, they're doing everything to the fullest capacity. And we don't have any evidence in the Olmec realm of them working their way towards being able to do things like this. It's just from the very beginning, they're able to make monuments like this, move these 50-ton Olmec heads. The largest head is this. You'll find this interesting. So there was a nautical engineer that MEC, which is an organization I'm with. It's the Maya Exploration Center. It's run by Dr. Ed Barnhart. I'm a member of it, and one of the guys that worked with us traveled into the Olmec realm. He's a nautical engineer. He's fascinated with how were the Olmecs moving these huge heads up and down these rivers? So they live in like the rivers, swamps. They have to cross some mountain ranges. How are you getting these heads 90 miles away from the Sierra de la Tuxtla volcanic belt? That's where they're pulling the basalt from. Because we found unfinished heads like at the base of these big basalt quarries. And they're transporting them 90 kilometers away through, like I was saying, rivers and
90
valleys.
miles or kilometers?
I think it's kilometers. It's kilometers as the crow flies. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And so much further when you're actually dealing with the complications of the terrain. And so he was fascinated, like, okay, how do they get them to the river? And then how do they get them on the boat? And then when it's on the boat, how exactly does this work if they're transporting it by boat? And it's kind of the same mystery in Egypt too, right? Like how do the nuances of these things work? So he devised this algorithm or whatever where you could put in the hypothetical size of your Olmec raft and put in the hypothetical size of an Olmec head into this database or whatever. And when you made a raft that was too big to go down the narrow stretches of the Coetzalcoatl River, which is like the Olmec's Nile River, when the raft was too big and too wide to actually go down the river, and you put a 5-ton Olmec head on it, it would sink that raft. But the smallest Olmec head is 6 tons, and the largest one is 52 tons. So how are they doing it? And this is something that like all archaeologists have quietly known. This idea of they're just being transported on these simple balsa rafts must be wrong. It's unexplained. How are these things being done? And I just find this realm really fascinating.
Wow. It is and then do they even know what language they spoke?
No, we don't know what language they spoke. We don't even know what they called themselves.
If you enjoyed today's episode on JRE Plus, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.